Great to hear. Am I supposed to stand up here?
Yes, sir, you are. Just making sure we got our stream started here.
You're good with that, sir? Okay.
All right, Joey, open us up.
Coach, how much more comfortable are you and the players with your offense as you do a second spring camp?
About as more comfortable as you could be. You know, you probably didn't realize, you know, what the feeling was going to be going into year two, but as we started to, you know, install the offense again, I felt it as a coach, and I know the players, you know, it's like, oh man, you know, this is, we know this already, you know, for the most part. We know what we're supposed to do. And that allows them to be more confident earlier on, you know, in terms of knowing what their assignments are. And now it's been a transition, you know, you get to the point where I know what to do now, using the right techniques and, you know, mechanics on the field and executing what we know we're supposed to do. You know, we're trying to catch up and be better there, but it feels completely different.
Coach Golish the other day was explaining it like, and I guess maybe you don't realize it when you're doing it last year, but so much time was spent on just getting things organized and getting people in the right place, and now he's almost seemed giddy about, man, we can like coach football, we can do this, we can do that, we know how good we're going to be now.
Yeah, 100%. You feel like not just like the offense, you know, and the defense and, man, the special teams, like schematically, there's going to be a lot of carryover, so you feel really comfortable with that. But just the schedule itself, you know, you're getting into the second year of, man, understanding, you know, what it is. And you're not worried about different things that you were a year ago, just checking boxes and making sure that everything is set to go practice. And, yeah, it's been awesome.
Coach, I got 3 questions, and I'll start out with an easy one.
Okay.
The coaching situation on the offense, very little turnover. How important is that continuity to your program?
It's huge. It's huge. You know, this is a people business. So coaching is about trust, having relationships with your players, and when you're able to have that continuity in those relationships, you know, are a year old, you know, for the guys that were here, you know, in the first season. That's huge. You know, you know the players more, you know how to coach them, the players know you, and that relationship is just, it's a year into it. And, you know, a year ago when you're trying to figure out everything, you don't know, you know the guys. I can shake Byram's hand and see that he's a yes or no sir guy and that he's very attentive to meetings, but man, you don't know what Byram Brown is going to be like when his back's against the wall in the fourth quarter until you go play a football season and you go through another off season. So all of those relationships that we've been able to develop coaching staff wise with our players, man, that's huge.
Coach, I'm going to pick up on that. Last year, every position was a question mark, especially quarterback. This year, it's an exclamation point. How nice is it that you can build around Byron right now?
It's huge. It's huge. You know, you have a really good feeling of what his skill set is, what he brings to the table, what he needs to get better at, and man, you can start to build things around him. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, a year ago, completely different feeling. Now, the competitive nature of how it felt a year ago and how it felt today hasn't changed at all. So there hasn't been any kind of, man, from Byram or anybody else, we're good, you know, we're going to relax. Those guys are working at it. So that part's been really great to see too.
Coach, my last question, and thank you for your time today. Not only are you coming into spring, but you had an extra 5 days of practice for the bowl game. How important was that?
Man, it's that's why teams that play in bowls every single year keep getting better and better and better, you know, because it's another month of practice really at the end of the day. And it's reps. It's opportunities for young guys that didn't get hardly any reps during the season. It's opportunities for the old guys to rest. Obviously that was really big going into the bowl game, but repetition is the mother of all learning, and that's how we're going to keep getting better, is we got to keep learning and we got to keep playing football. So the more opportunities we have for that, the better we're going to be.
Thank you, Coach.
Coach, how would you compare how you feel about receiver now versus last year? I think with injuries and whatnot, you're patching it together pretty much, and it looks like you've got some depth and certainly some proven guys coming back.
Yeah, it's, you would say the same thing about the wide receiver position as really how you feel about, the quarterback position. You've got guys that have been in the offense, have played in the offense for a whole season, and man, it's a completely different story, and it's the same point that I made early on. Now it's about taking, we know what we're supposed to do. Now it's about mastering our techniques and our footwork and our decisions and all of those things, and we just got to keep getting better. But to walk out on the practice field right now and get ready for what we just did today on practice 7, we wouldn't be able to do that without the guys, without the experience and the ability for them to go to the meeting, get all that information, come out here for practice, and we can go practice and get a lot of really good work done.
Sean Atkins, obviously, his story is irresistible. It's been told many times, but it's not just the pluck you walk on. This guy's setting records, and he's gonna build on them. I mean, just as you see what this guy has become, do you marvel at just having a guy like that around to be an example for everybody else?
For sure, he inspires people, with his story, because, his story, he's not supposed to make it. The odds are very slim that he ends up doing what he's done, but he's the last person that would ever tell you he wasn't going to get this done. He believed it in his heart. He loves football. Like, football is a game that he is very natural. He understands it. He's really good with everything that he does, and it's really fun for him, and he's a great competitor. So for him, he gets just to keep going to practice and writing a story. And who knows what it's going to turn into. Like, he's got a lot of things that he can keep improving on too, and he'd be the first one to tell you that. But it's awesome. We got young guys that should be in high school that are mid-year enrollees, and they can see Sean, and they don't really understand what Sean's journey really means right now, what he's been through to get to where he is. But at some point, it'll click in those young guys' brains, and it'll be like, wow, this guy has something special in him. And he's got a heart of a champ, and we wouldn't be where we are today without him. So, man, we're so fired up that we get to play another go-around with him.
I mean, when he walked in the door, nobody would have thought he would have a chance to play beyond this level. But, I mean, is there an intrigue with a guy like that you've been around this game that, if he keeps on this path, could there be a place for him? Oh,
I don't think there's any doubt, that next level, the one thing that, outside of the measurables and all that stuff, like you have to love football, and you got to be a student of the game or you don't make it, at that next level, and he loves ball. And he's willing to work and work and work to keep getting better, and that's what you have to do to keep getting opportunities. So, yeah, the sky's the limit for Sean.
And Naiem, who we're going to speak to as well, obviously had an incredible game. But what do you think, even beyond that game, on balance, what was his season? What's takeaways for you?
Yeah, you see what, man, his ceiling, what he's capable of doing when he's on top of his game is really, really good. I mean, it's hard to duplicate, what he did against Rice that day. And I think, for Nye, it's about just finding a way to tap into that and bring it every single day and trying to figure out, man, just the consistency of being that same dude every single day in practice where, man, he'll be that guy in games every single week. But, he and a lot of guys, man, they fought through nagging injuries and this and that through the season. And, we got to keep those guys healthy, and they're just going to keep getting better and better. But those guys are practicing their butts off right now, and they're being great teammates, being selfless, competing every single day, leaving it on the field every single day, which, man, that's hard to do sometimes in spring ball. Like, those guys are laying it on the line. So we're very thankful to have both of those guys with us.
And obviously the fans will know about Sean and Naiem, but we've got some young guys that maybe didn't get an opportunity last year, and a lot of depth that maybe people haven't seen. So when you look at your receivers, who stands out to you right now? Who are guys that should be mentioned right now that are doing some things out there?
That other people might not know about?
Yeah, just receiving core as a whole. Obviously those two guys, but who else would you catch in your eye?
I think you got to start, with those two guys, and they've been really consistent throughout the spring so far. Michael Brown-Stevens is a different. Obviously, we didn't get him until the summertime, which was a tough transition for him because he missed out on a lot of reps, and you need a lot of reps, to get yourself really comfortable. But I think what Mike has done and his mindset coming back into the spring, he's hungry, and he's got something to prove. And his approach to every single day has been very consistent, and he's done a ton of good things. And I think you look at those three guys right now, those are the guys that probably have the most experience, and they've had an opportunity in 7 practices to be ahead of everybody else, and they are, just because they're so much comfortable with what we're doing on the field. And there's a ton of young guys that, man, are learning. And we got a lot of guys in that group, some talented dudes. And every single day has got to be, we got to keep bringing those guys along, to the point where they're really confident to go take the practice field.
And when you look at your backfield, and maybe I thought he was done, but here's Kelly Joyner, he's still here. I don't know, did he make a decision to come back? Did you think he was leaving, or what? And then what about him? Just what he can bring to you again?
Yeah, well, he's back, and we're excited that he's back. So he's had as good a practice, man, for a skill guy doing his job and learning every single day and improving. He's had as good a spring as anybody on our football team right now. And we've challenged him, because he's a guy that's flashed, and you see, whoa, this guy can do some things, catching the football, running the ball, all of it. And he's another guy that was banged up. So he's getting healthy, which is huge for him. But, man, he is a guy that has to play to his highest potential, because he changes the game for us. He's done some really awesome things, in particular just this week. So super fired up that he's with us.
What would you say about, and maybe tap into some of your previous stops of expectations that were not there at all last year, that are here now? As coaches, how aware are you of it? Is it a subject that you have to tackle with players? And what is it like? You come off great improvement, and then, everybody wants the bar to be raised. In the second year, you're going to run into different adversity perhaps. So how do you deal with said expectations?
Yeah, it's one day at a time. It's, I think when you look at expectations a year ago, man, it's tough to, I couldn't even tell you what I expected to see at practice. To be honest with you, here we are. We haven't coached these players. They don't know this offense. They don't know this defense. And we go out here and don't know what the expectation was. We knew what the expectation was off the field and how we're going to do things and the culture of our program. This is how we do things. And we have seen that change tremendously over a calendar year. The expectation on the field, now they know what it's supposed to look like. They know what elite offense can look like. Now, we weren't elite as consistent as what we need to be, but there are plays of it from the season where you can turn on and man, this is what it's supposed to look like. And the expectation now is that it looks like that every single day in practice. And that's hard to reach. To get a football team to have the mindset, the discipline, and detail to go practice and to, execute at an elite clip in the first 7 days of spring ball, the expectation is, there's going to be some mistakes still. You know what I mean? We're not going to be perfect. They know what it looks like. We've hit some of those. Man, we've seen some of those plays be made already, in 7 days. We never saw once in spring practice a year ago. And now it's about holding the standard. And that's what we're really trying to chase right now, one day at a time. When it's hard, these guys are going, 3 days a week right now. It's physical, it's competitive, there's all kinds of situational football. It's mentally challenging to these guys right now. It's hard, like we're pushing them. And to get those guys to hold that standard through all that adversity, man, that's exactly what we need to get ready for next year. So they know what the standard is, and we're chasing it. All right, appreciate it. Yep.
Appreciate it, man.
Remember, Coach, we got lunch coming.
Hey, we got to do it.
Yeah, after spring game. We'll
Gotta
lunch.
do it. Yes, sir.
Gotta take you some.
Right. Season record holder Sean Atkins, 92 catches, 1,054 yards.
He forgot his water.
So Sean, we talked, about everything you did last year in real time, and, you had a chance to separate yourself from last season. You did set records. What do you think about it, now that you've, sort of had a chance to think about it?
Yeah, reflecting on it, I just reflect back to all of the hard times and hard work I put in up till that point. It was a testament to everything that I've ever done in my life, putting myself in a position to be able to go out and do it and, execute at a high clip and building that bond with Byram and hopefully carry it into this year. It's such a great feeling, but, that's only a stepping stone in the right direction. Go out and break the more this year.
So there's the Sean walk-on, now there's the Sean record holder.
Yeah.
Do you still want to be, would you like to still be the walk-on grunt guy?
I mean, both titles don't really matter to me. At the end of the day, I'm Sean Atkins. It doesn't really matter whether it's walk-on Sean or, record breaker Sean. I feel like I still carry myself the right way, and that's just a testament to my character and everything that I've been taught up until this point.
It's not the size of the dog in the fight, it's the size of the fight in the dog.
Absolutely.
Is that what keeps you going?
Absolutely. I'm always going to be undersized. I'm never going to be the biggest guy out there. But if you watch the film, everything like that, I'm down and dirty. I got to do whatever it takes to, put myself in a position to be successful. And, that quote I live by for sure.
You go from the back of the receiver room when you finally come in. Now you're in the front.
Yeah.
And the most important thing, and coaches kind of allude to this, when your best players are your hardest workers, all of a sudden you become the leader. You don't have to say a word, you're just the leader. Is that what it is now?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird to be looked at in that light. It's weird being a vet now. I've been always working, trying to learn from the guys ahead of me and everything like that. For the young guys, I kind of take them under my shoulder, and it's really weird because it's like I see me in all of them. They get frustrated on a whole bunch of stuff, and at the end of the day, it's next play mentality. I just got to give them the right, blueprint to, go out and execute at a high level, and hopefully I leave my legacy on them and they can continue to build on their own thing.
My last question, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah.
Go back in when I played, and it wasn't leather helmets, but it was 50 years ago.
Yeah.
One thing that's never changed is when that receiver comes into the huddle, he looks at the quarterback and he always says, "I'm open, get me the ball."
Right.
That's still, you gotta have that mentality to play those.
Absolutely. That's just the competitive nature, though. Whenever you're executing at a high clip and the quarterback trusts you, there's nothing better. Byron looks at me, I look at him. I'm sure every receiver looks at him the same way, though. That's what we taught in our receiver group is everybody can make a play, everybody can go out and, dominate. Look at Nye. He went for 272. I know he was looking at Nye with that. I know he was looking at Byron with that same, let's go. Give me the ball. So any guy can do it. I'm just proud of the guys, honestly.
Thank you.
What are your memories of that 272 game against Rice? The things you'll remember from that day, watching him have that?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me is watching Nye get tackled by his own teammate. He could have went for 300, but that was the biggest memory. But no, just looking at him on the sideline and having that swag to him, that's when Nye's the most confident, when he comes in and has that swag, and just seeing him, he just had a light to him, bro. I fed off of him. I went out and did my part too. So just he brought along guys with him, being able to execute at that high of a level and just bringing energy to the team. He set the tone for the whole game. I feel like Rice couldn't. They had the guy on their team doing really good, but Nye was just nah, I'm better, and we need to carry that into the next season.
I mean, when you have a game like that, I think it was week 4, and obviously everybody's gonna watch the film. Did that make it, him a marked guy for the rest of the year?
I don't know. I'm sure it did, and I feel like Nye could go out and do that any game. So we just got to keep giving him the right confidence to go out and do that, and that's my job too. Bringing guys with me. So hopefully we see a lot of that next year.
So his story isn't exactly your story, but there's some similarities in that he was from a small school and a smaller guy. I mean, can you relate to him in a way that maybe that you can't, a different looking guy?
Yeah, no, I relate to him a lot. He's always playing with a chip on his shoulder. He wants to go out and do everything right. He's a perfectionist, and that sometimes gets in his own way, and that's what got me my own way for a while. But at the end of the day, if he's executing at a high clip, I feel like nobody can touch him. The only thing that I can't relate to him really is how fast he is. That guy's blazing fast.
What do you think about Mike Lofton he may have a question, but I wanted to ask a question about him. I thought I could. A guy that always has a smile on his face, as a leader, never comes off the field.
Yeah.
He's on your offense. What do you think about this guy?
I mean, he sets the tone. Look at that smile. I mean, when him and Byram have that smile to them, they're those guys you look at to bring you up. So I respect him, and I love Mike for sure.
Mike Lofton insider. Yeah. pretty renowned.
Mike on the mic.
Just got off of practice, how are you feeling mentally? How's your body feeling? Practice number 7. What's up with Sean Atkins?
My body hurting. Coach Golish got that one today.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, 1-0 for that one for sure. Got to bounce back. Got to get in shape. My question to you is, how's your body feeling?
It's great, I'm just a guy, you get older, body's not moving the same, but just take it day by day.
For sure.
Last question.
He's got 2 questions.
How do you truly feel about Mike Lofton? Like, if you had to rate him, funniest guy on the team, what would you give him?
Funniest guy, definitely not.
All right,
He was out. He didn't like that one. He didn't like that one.
This mic on the right.
Yeah.
I'll give you top 20.
Yeah.
Top 20. You good?
Yeah.
Well, good. I appreciate you guys.
How was Mike?
That was good.
Hot garlic, please. Game record holder Naiem Simmons, 72.
How everybody doing today?
Good.
That's great. That's just amazing.
You had a tough one out there today, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Today was a long one.
That was the 7th practice. I wanted to make a statement today, right?
Yeah. Definitely got us out there working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Naiem, as you go into your 2nd season with this program, what are you looking to establish this year that's different than your first year, and how comfortable are you being here for a 2nd time?
I'm super comfortable. I think for the room, the goal is to have 2,000-yard receivers this year, and obviously right now we don't know who's it going to be, but I'm definitely looking to be one of those guys. So yeah, I think the goal is just to be more explosive than we was last year, and be the best offense in the country. That was the goal last year, but kind of fell short of that. So this year is really an emphasis on just getting back on that track to be the best offense in the country.
When you're introduced, everybody talks about the Rice game. That'll be your calling card probably maybe forever.
Yeah.
There were other games. So how do you evaluate the whole season with that game and the other games as well? The whole ball of wax from last year. How you did?
Yeah, I take every game as a learning experience. Obviously, being in this conference for the first time, so being able to go back and watch the film from them games and really just see where I could have done better helps me, this year going into these practices, seeing, I could have did this and that, and then implementing that into my game today. So going out into practice and missing something that I did last year and not making those same mistakes. So when we go out there this year for games, those mistakes won't happen, and there'll be a smoother transition and, hopefully better outcomes.
Last year's spring, everything was a question mark with the new coaching staff and everything.
Yep.
This year, you're an exclamation point, Byron's an exclamation point, Sean's an exclamation point. How much different is it getting into the huddle, they call the play, and you don't have to walk to the line thinking, oh, what's going on? I know what's going on.
Yeah, it's a relief. Last year we was all in here not knowing what's going on. So this year coming in, having a foundation already set, knowing what we're doing, knowing the plays, it was easier for us to go out there and be more confident as a team and as a unit. And it's a lot easier for the young guys. When we first came in here, we had no one to look up to help us, guide us through what was going on, sort of help us on the field, off the field, with the plays. But now the young guys are out there and they have people to look up to, so it's easier to lay that foundation on not only for us, but for them. So everyone's coming along at a great pace.
I asked Sean the same question. I don't care, 50 years ago when I played, it wasn't leather helmet. But when a receiver comes in the huddle, back then and today, he looks at the quarterback and says, I'm open. You gotta have that mentality, don't you?
For sure.
Last thing, and thank you for your time today. 272 yards. I don't think anybody's figured it out that, okay, you start at the goal line, run to the goal line, run back to the goal line, and then run to the 28-yard line. That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, that was definitely a moment. You see it, like I see it now, and it's like it's still sort of surreal to me because 272 that's a lot. Like I had a game at Wagner that was like 160, and I'm like, wow, like this is a big deal, And then I come up here and I'm like, dang, like I'm never gonna be able to best that, and I best that for 200 yards over. So it's, again, still surreal today, but it's definitely an accomplishment that won't be forgot for a long time.
Thank you.
So you know Michael Jordan, of course, in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
He was in the NBA Finals one year, and he had 35 points in the first half, and he hit a long three, and he basically looked at the crowd and went,
Yeah.
was that your day? Like,
Yeah.
you can't explain it because you can't, right? You just there's no way to explain it.
Everything was just clicking. Like from Byron was hitting every pass. Every pass was perfect. Line was perfect. Obviously having those days as a receiver, you can't not do that without everything else clicking. Like play call is amazing, line amazing, time amazing, QB reads, everything was there. So without every piece clicking on at the same time, 272 that's not happening.
Right. You have a story that's different than Sean's story, but in some ways it's similar. You guys, were overlooked to some degree. You're smaller. People don't think you are all that.
Yeah.
So can you relate to Sean in a way that maybe some others can't?
Yeah, for sure. I know Sean's story. Obviously, you guys know my story, and we both definitely know what it feels like to be overlooked. His case a little different. He was a walk-on, and I came from a smaller school, both not having no scholarships out of high school, and me going the prep way, him walking on and doing the things he's doing. So I think me and him are real similar in a lot of aspects.
What do you think about the record-setting Sean? What he put on the field last year?
Oh man, that's just a testament to what he's about. Like he comes in every day and he works harder than a lot of people, and he's consistent. And that's something that the coaches look for every day. That's something that we would like, that we needed. We needed someone to be consistent. So outside of, Byram and Naquan, we needed someone else in the receiver room to step up, and he was the one to step up.
So you mentioned, last year you're trying to put this offense together and you're not quite sure, you don't feel perfect about it, but you still put up great numbers, you still move the ball really well. Now you got another year. How much better do you imagine this offense could be now that you have experience?
I think it's going to be leaps and bounds better. I think the first 6 games we're still kind of figuring it out. Towards the end of the season is when we really click, and so if we if we look at it as a point of stats, if we can have the same numbers we had at the backside of the season in the front, that changes the whole perspective of where we are as an offense in the country. So I think we were, 20, maybe top, 15. If we carry the same momentum as we did at the end of the season into the start, maybe we're top 10, top 8. So I think, us just going out there and playing our game from start to finish, from first quarter to the last down, first play, last down, I don't think anyone's going to be able to really deny us into the end zone.
When you look at your unit, obviously, people know you, people know Sean, and know Mike to some degree, but there's a lot of young guys they don't really know yet.
Yeah.
You know them, you see them in practice. What about the depth and the younger guys coming behind you that you could put on the field this year that might have a bigger role?
Is that including transfers as well, or is that just young guys?
Everybody in your room that could play this year.
Yassine is going to be a big help for us. He's coming in, played at Purdue, big guy, strong, and he's played a lot of ball. So he's going to come in. He's going to help us a lot. And I think all our young guys, especially like I said a little earlier about us helping them, they'll be on track to being at the right spot when the first game comes around. So I think any of the guys we have, they'll be able to come in, and we won't be able to miss a beat. Like Jaquan, he had a little rough first year, coming in from spring, but where he's at now, he's took a big leap, and everyone's seeing it. So, just the young guys coming in, I think everyone's going to be able to play and understand that everyone has a role, even if it's 2 plays, 3 plays, or special teams. Everyone's going to be able to help at some degree in our receiver room.
And when you guys put this together in the spring and fall last year, there weren't a lot of expectations on your team, and now there are some. People expect you guys to be really good.
Yeah.
How does that affect you as a player? Do you like it? Do you hear it? Do you care?
We hear it, but Coach Golich always talks about, trusting our inner circle, which is the people inside of these walls. So, things that go outside, things that people say, things you see on social media doesn't really affect us because we come in here and we work harder than anybody else, and we trust the people in these walls. So what other people say really don't affect us.
All right, thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I have a terrible memory at Wagner. It's the only punt I ever dropped when I was playing in college.